Good evening, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV here to bring you a live update on today's developments in the apparent Trump assassination attempt at the Trump golf course in West Palm Beach, Florida. And we're going to bring you the latest updates. We're going to take your comments and questions on the air. We're going to talk about the criminal complaint that came out. We're going to look at the press conference that happened. Sorry I wasn't able to get on the air a little earlier, but we are on now, and we're going to bring you the latest updates. Hey, I want to say thanks to our moderators. We have Ruth Krafasi moderating. Thank you, Ruth. And we have, she's over on YouTube, Linda Belk and Larry moderating for us on X. Over there on Twitch, A Moment of Lovely, Big Ball of Yarn, DeBears, Idaho Star, McBritches, and Papa Bear. No, guys, it's hopefully it's clear. This is not a new. Nothing happened today. You'll notice in the description it's saying it's an update on what happened yesterday. So it's not a new assassination attempt at the golf course. It's an update on the one from yesterday. Okay. Let's see here. Thanks to our Facebook moderators too. Ball of Yarn, DeBears, Idaho Star. Beth Shepard is moderating. Kay Lowry Body is moderating. Thank you. Margaret Riley, I think. Thank you. Thanks to all of our moderators. Raven Lynn, thank you. And thanks so much to PZ Papa Zulu for the gift memberships. Very nice of you. And also Mr. Blanks a lot. Thanks for your support as well. All right. All right, let's start off. You know, what I'm going to do shortly is show you guys the press conference. I'm sorry if you've seen it already. It's not that long, but I think that's a good way to start. But even before that, I want to show you the criminal complaint that came out today about the suspect who has been charged with, I believe it's possession of firearm by a prohibited person, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. And more charges could follow. But those are the charges so far. Possession of a firearm as a convicted felon and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. And I actually have here the original court document, this criminal complaint. So you can see that Ryan Wesley Routh, possession of a firearm by prohibited person, convicted felon, possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. And the maximum penalties there. But there could very well be more charges to come. That doesn't mean that doesn't have to be all the charges. That's just the initial charges. So I want to show you this criminal complaint actually talks about what the Secret Service saw at the golf course. All right. Thanks to Marnie for your support, by the way. Thank you, Marnie. And also Jex Haku over there on Twitch, and Warlord Gord, thank you. All right, so let's check this out. Again, this is a criminal complaint filed in federal court in Florida. The United States of America versus Ryan Wesley Routh. I think it's Routh, by the way. And this was filed yesterday. And it's a criminal complaint from the FBI saying they believe that the defendant violated the law of a law against possession. The law against possession of a firearm by a prohibited person, convicted felon, possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. But again, there could be more charges. All right, so let's talk about this. This is filed by a special agent with the FBI. Okay? I am employed as a special agent with the FBI. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. I make this affidavit in support of a criminal complaint charging Ryan Wesley Routh with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and possession and receipt of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. Okay, here are the facts. Probable cause. This is why the FBI believes that Ryan Routh committed these crimes. And again, there could be other charges. Yes, one of our viewers just mentions the weapon, Ronnie Dyer. It talks about this in this criminal complaint. You'll see it in a second. On September 15th, 2024, former President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, was golfing at Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach. Okay? At approximately 1:31 p.m., a United States Secret Service special agent assigned to the former president's security detail was walking the perimeter of Trump International when the U.S. Secret Service agent saw what appeared to be a rifle poking out of the tree line. Now, by the way, you'll see this if you haven't seen the press conference. We'll show it in a little bit. But in the press conference, it was said that the suspect, Ryan Routh, did not have a direct line of sight at the president, at the former president. He did not have direct line of sight where he was standing. We'll talk more about that. But anyways, so the Secret Service goes up ahead of Trump when he's golfing to check things out. And you can see at approximately 1:31, a Secret Service agent was walking the perimeter of the course when the Secret Service agent saw what appeared to be a rifle poking out of the tree line. The agent fired his or her service weapon in the direction of the rifle. A witness saw a male, later identified as Routh, fleeing the area of the tree line and entering a Nissan Sport utility vehicle. The witness then observed the Nissan leave the area at a high rate of speed. In the area of the tree line from which Routh fled, agents found a digital camera, 2 bags, including a backpack, a loaded SKS-style 7.62 x39 caliber rifle with scope. I'm not a weapons expert, but the rifle was a loaded SKS-style 7.62 x39 caliber rifle with a scope and a black plastic bag containing food. The serial number on the SKS-style rifle was obliterated and unreadable to the naked eye. Based on my training and experience, says the FBI special agent, I am aware that SKS-style 7.62 x39 caliber rifles are not manufactured in the state of Florida. Therefore, I submit there is probable cause to believe that the SKS-style rifle, which was seized from this tree line at Trump International, have previously traveled in interstate or foreign commerce. The SKS-style rifle and other items recovered at the scene are depicted in the image above. Now, real quick, that's not the best image, but I will just grab an image for you. Hang on, let me grab an image for you here, just so you can see, in case you missed it yesterday, just so you can see what the image was. One moment here. I'm pulling it up on the screen, if I can. I definitely can, I just have to find it here. It's not in that story. Let me grab that image. Here. Is it in here? Here it is. This is from Associated Press. 5 things to know about the apparent assassination attempt on Trump. And here is the image right here. I'll make it big for you, just so you can see it. Right there. So that's what they found. Again, a GoPro camera, 2 bags with ceramic plates in them, I believe, and that rifle there with the scope. Okay, so let's continue. And also a bag of food. So let's continue with the criminal complaint that I have here, the court document filed by the FBI special agent. Okay, then we'll take, once I get this is not a very long document. Once I get to the document, I'll take some comments and questions from you guys. Ceramic tile. I think you're right. Maybe junk chain, ceramic tile. All right. Well, we'll get to that. Okay. So, again, Secret Service agent is walking ahead of Trump on the golf course, is walking the edge of the course, sees a rifle sticking out of a, sees a rifle, what appears to be a rifle poking out of the tree line, fires shots at the area, and a man is observed fleeing the area, Routh, and getting into a Nissan and leaving the area at a high rate of speed. And the law enforcement goes over to the fence and they find that stuff we just talked about. Officers from Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office and Martin County Sheriff's Office located the Nissan as it was traveling northbound on I-95. At approximately 2:14 p.m., so about 45 minutes after the gunshots, by the Secret Service, Martin County Sheriff's Office initiated a motor vehicle stop. The driver and sole occupant of the Nissan was Routh. Shortly after the motor vehicle stop, Routh was asked if he knew why he was being stopped. He responded in the affirmative. He said yes. Officers noted the license plate attached to the Nissan is registered to a 2012 white Ford truck and had been reported stolen. That's interesting. Again, the license plate attached to Routh's car that he was driving, which I believe was a black Nissan, was registered to a 2012 white Ford truck and has been reported stolen. So for whatever that's worth. I think it was a black Nissan. It doesn't say the color in here, though. Anyways, it certainly wasn't a Ford. Okay, just to continue here. During the course of the motor vehicle stop, law enforcement transported to the scene the witness who had previously observed Routh fleeing the area of the Trump International tree line and entering the Nissan Sport utility vehicle. That witness identified Routh as the same individual he or she had previously seen entering the Nissan. Then, during their investigation, law enforcement also discovered a publicly viewable Facebook post from on or around July 10th of this year, in which Routh directed his followers to contact him on an instant messaging application, WhatsApp, at the following number, which has been, censored. Database checks indicate that a mobile phone assigned to that number is serviced by T-Mobile, and Routh is the subscriber. Agents requested T-Mobile on an emergency basis to provide law enforcement with information pertaining to Routh's mobile phone usage. Those records indicated that Routh's mobile phone was located in the vicinity of the area along the tree line described above from approximately 1:59 a.m. until approximately 1:31 p.m. on September 15th. So you may have heard this today. Mobile phone data shows that Routh was on the edge of the golf course for 12 hours. 12 hours. Okay. Let me show you. I'm going to show you a map. But 12 hours. Let me pull up a map here so we can just refresh our memory as to where everything is located here. Hang on a second here. Okay. I'm pulling up the map. Okay, I got it. Here is the map of the golf course, just to remind you what we're talking about. Oops, that's my notes. Here is the map of the golf course. There we go. So this is in West Palm Beach. And remember, according to Sean Hannity, who spoke to Trump and another person who was playing golf with Trump, Trump was playing golf and on the 5th hole, and I believe getting ready to putt on the 5th hole, which is up here. And from video I saw yesterday and photos, it looked like the suspect was on the fence in this area on Summit Boulevard, at the fence here, looking out onto the club. And so remember, Trump, if he was up here, his next hole he played would have brought him right around here. The next hole would have finished up right here near the fence. And then after that, the 7th hole would have teed off right near the fence. So I don't know the exact location, but from the video and photos I saw, it looked like the suspect was somewhere in here, at the fence, at the tree line there. And as the criminal complaint says, they got his phone records, they talked to T-Mobile, they got information from T-Mobile, which showed that his phone was located in the vicinity of the area along the tree line from approximately 1:59 a.m. to 1:31 p.m. when the incident happened. So 12 hours. 12 hours. All right, I'm almost done with this document. Then I'll take your comments. One of our viewers, Jimmy ZNJ, says, not a burner phone? No, apparently he was just using a phone that had been registered to him. Well, it was a T-Mobile phone in his name. Yeah, because because they got the number of the phone off of a Facebook post from July 10th, from 2 months ago. And they ran the number and they found the number was the same number as the phone he had with him, apparently. A review of law enforcement indices, I think that is, reflected that on or about December 20th of 2002, this is 22 years ago, Routh was convicted in Greensboro, North Carolina, of possession of a weapon of mass death and destruction, which reportedly, by the way, according to the Greensboro News and Observer, I think it was a fully automatic weapon, fully automatic rifle, I believe it was. That, I think, is what Greensboro a machine gun. That's what Greensboro News and Observer said. Anyways, they say back in 2002, he was convicted of possession of a weapon of mass death and destruction, which was a Class F felony. Law enforcement indices further reflected that on or about March 3rd, 2010, Routh was convicted of multiple counts of possession of stolen goods in North Carolina, also a Class H felony. On the basis of the foregoing, your affiant respectfully submits that probable cause exists to charge Ryan Wesley Routh with possession of a firearm and ammunition by a convicted felon, which is a federal law violation, and possession and receipt of a firearm with an obliterated serial number, which is also a federal law violation. So what this document is doing is basically, I believe, asking for charges to be filed, saying we have probable cause to believe that these two crimes have been committed. But there could be other charges too. Not all of their evidence is in here. It's just providing enough evidence to justify these two charges. Those two charges right there. Psycho says the guy has a long rap sheet. Yeah, well, I want to talk more about that too. I probably pronounced that word wrong. Hold on a second here.
Indices.
Oh, according to an online dictionary, dictionary.com, it's indices, not indices. I never say that word. Anyway, so I apologize for my mispronunciation. Thanks for the correction in the chat. Yes, Collins Dictionary says the same thing. Thanks for the correction in the chat. Indices. Okay. Anyways, plural of index. Okay. So I want to get your comments on this. That is the information behind the charges he has faces so far. Let me take some comments from you. Now, Cheeky thinks there's a 10-year automatic sentence. I don't know about automatic sentences. All that's listed here is the maximum penalty. This doesn't say anything about minimum sentences. Although, remember, he is a convicted felon, so I don't know if that could, rather, he's not going to have no record. In terms of him being there 12 hours, he was in the tree line for 12 hours. I guess right around here. The golf course is on the other side of this fence and bushes. Was he sleeping in there? Did he go there at 2 a.m. and sleep? Or was he camping out and then waiting? This was an unplanned outing by Trump. So, maybe he had observed Trump before and seen him playing golf there or something. We don't know if he'd been there previously. But, again, his phone was on that tree line for 12 hours. Board Beagle thinks he was just camping. Joe Dirt Hockey thinks his life is over. Les Paul believes it's mandatory sentence of 10 years for the first crime. Again, I'm not aware. Maybe you're right. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into it. Maybe there was something said in the press conference about the mandatory sentence. I don't know. But he might be facing other charges as well. Slot Whiz Criz thinks there won't be other charges if he doesn't admit to anything or have any digital evidence of any of his intent. So he is, I believe in the press conference today, they said that he when they started questioning him, he invoked his right to get legal representation. So it sounds like he's not talking at this point. Jimmy Sotak thinks he will spend a minimum of 20 years in prison. Now, Jimmy ZNJ says, odd that his vehicle wasn't suspicious earlier if they're that long. I don't know where his vehicle was. I don't know. He could have parked his vehicle over, there's a mall over here or something, for example. There's a park, yeah, there's a post office over here, and I believe some stores. Anyways, there's a parking lot here. So for all I know, he parked somewhere over here and then just went across the street. I don't know where his car was exactly. Larry DM thinks he did not act alone. Police said they have no evidence anybody was acting with him. Uput says 58 years old, high chance he won't make it out of prison. Kerry Poteet says, I wonder if they ran a toxicology test on him. That I don't know. By the way, a quick thanks to Chris Canada, Quebec City, and Matthew Bradford. Yeah, Matthew was asking about the car too. Again, I don't know where the car was parked. I agree with Matthew and some of our other viewers that if the car was parked on the side of the road for 12 hours, that might seem suspicious, but maybe he didn't park there. Thanks also Lynn Downey, our member, and Jackie Morgan. Cassandra says, very hidden under the bushes. But he did bring food with him. He went out there apparently at 2 a.m. and brought food with him. Blue Cow Dog thinks he slept in his car. Well, his phone was at the tree line for 12 hours. So we'll have to see if there are more charges coming up. Hang on a second. You can write to me, by the way, at Lookner on X. You know, something that I'm interested in is, you know, we don't have details from this document. It just says that the Secret Service agent saw a rifle, saw what appeared to be a rifle poking out of the tree line, and the agent fired his or her service weapon in direction of the rifle. You know, I don't know what the normal procedure is. Is that the usual procedure? Like if you're a Secret Service agent and you see what looks like a gun sticking out of the bushes, you just fire your weapon? I mean, maybe that is in that case. I don't know. But remember, it was said in the press conference today, which I'm going to play in a second, that the suspect did not have a line of sight to Trump where he was standing. You know, we don't know, did the agent say anything? Like, hey, or something? No idea. Because it is a, you know, as we talked about yesterday, this is a public area. So given that the suspect apparently was like on this tree line here, I mean, there's cars driving by, there's a sidewalk there. So obviously that's a dangerous situation, possibly for bystanders, if you have a gun being fired. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have fired the gun. I don't know all the facts. But it is fortunate that nobody else was hit. But, you know, that would be interesting to know more about the exact details of that whole thing. Thanks, Multicorker, by the way. Let's see here. Hold on a second. Chaz says they absolutely should have fired the gun. Are you kidding me right now? What I said is I don't know what their procedure is for firing and what the exact details were. That's what I said. And both of those things are true. I don't know their procedure for when they fire, and I don't know what the exact details are. One of our viewers said, how did the course's security not see the guy for 12 hours? So one thing I will, you'd think they'd be extra vigilant right now. I don't know what kind of checks they do along the tree line at the course. I will say, as you'll see in the press conference, the Secret Service said they didn't do a complete check of the course before Trump came because it was an impromptu visit. It was not a scheduled visit to the golf course, which sounded like maybe if they knew days in advance he was going there, they might have done like a complete walk around or something. I'm not sure. It kind of sounded like that to me. We'll play the press conference shortly. Oom's World says, can a GoPro live stream? I believe some of them can. I believe. Could he have had a different campsite? I don't know. All I know is that it says here that he was his phone was located in the vicinity of the area along the tree line from approximately 1:59 a.m. to approximately 1:31 p.m., which is around 12 hours. That's what it says. The phone was located in the vicinity of the area along the tree line, meaning he was in that area for 12 hours, as far as this says. ZX48 says GoPro can live stream via the app. I haven't heard any reporting that he was live streaming. Yes, GoPro has a page, how to live stream from your GoPro. Literally, it's on their support page. But I don't know that he was doing that or planned on doing that. I don't know if he recorded anything when he was there. How did he know to be there for an unscheduled event? Well, first of all, you know, some of our viewers said Trump often plays golf on Sundays. I don't know if that's the case, but maybe he was familiar with Trump's habitual schedule, and maybe he figured he might be coming that day. Maybe he had come there on other days when Trump didn't show up. There's a lot we don't know about this. We don't know that he knew in advance he would be there. Maybe he thought there was a decent chance he would be there and figured he would just go there. So it's a good question. We don't know. Ryan Jones says, I'm curious to hear if this is the first time his phone was in that city or not. Justin Henson says maybe someone tipped him off. Again, no evidence that authorities have so far that he was working with somebody else. Ali C says maybe he was there, the suspect, every Sunday. Did they say if he spoke to them while he was there, said Emerson Atticus? What the police said in the press conference, the authorities said in the press conference that he wasn't talking. We're going to play that in a second. Sounds like they don't have much information from him. He invoked his right to get an attorney. And I'm assuming his attorney told him, don't say anything. Where is he from? He lives in Hawaii. He previously lived in North Carolina. How long he had been in Florida for, I don't know. So do you guys, I think what we should do is I think we should watch. What do you think about this idea? It's not that, let's watch the press conference. Does that sound okay? I think we should watch the press conference because a lot of you guys are asking questions that like, I think you'll hear the answers or some answers in the press conference. Why don't we do that? We can talk about the press conference too. Some people are saying, sure. All right, we'll do it. So I'm going to put the press conference on the screen right now. We'll watch it. We're going to watch it. I have other stuff to talk about too, but I want to, look, there it is. We're going to watch this. What I need to do, though, is put up on the screen, like, from earlier today. Here, hold on. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it over here. Press conference from earlier today. So people don't get confused. Oops, I don't need it to be all blue like that. There, press conference from earlier today. Hopefully that clarifies things for people. So we're going to watch, and I might, well, no, I'll just do it like this. We'll do that and we'll talk about it. Just make sure nothing else crazy is going on at the moment. Okay, I think we're good. Wondering the Wob says, why were both the assassination attempt suspects in the different commercials for the same large company? I know nothing about that. I'll have to look into that after. I haven't heard that before. Okay. Should I put my head? I'm going to just play this right now. All right, let's do this. Here we go. Let's play the press conference.
latest updates. They're going to tell you what's going on.
Let me just rewind it about 30 seconds. It's not quite queued up. There we go.
There was going to be some room in here. If I don't know that, we'd have gone to a bigger area. Okay, just a couple little housekeeping things here, in case you haven't been with me at a press conference. We, meaning the gentlemen that are up here, which is the U.S. Attorney, FBI, Secret Service, we're going to give you everything that we have. We're going to give you the latest updates. They're going to tell you what's going on with the investigation, everything. And then we're going to do a limited amount of questions. So make them good, all right? Don't get into what if and all this. Get legitimate questions. We got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, everybody ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're here today to give an update on the investigation in regards to the incident at Trump International. With me is the U.S. Attorney.
Hold on a second. They reframed their shot, so let me reframe my shot. They reframed it. Hang on, I gotta just let me fix it so that he's in the shot. Because I don't want you to have to watch it with him not in the shot. That'd be bad. All right, let's try this again. Let's see if this works. Okay, we'll do it this way. We'll turn that one off. There. Ha, better. Let's try that.
The FBI and the Secret Service. Just to give you a little information, as you well know, the road down there on Summit is still blocked off. It will be blocked off probably for the remainder of today and probably a good portion of tomorrow until some of the investigative things need to be done and finished. But we're accommodating people in and out, getting them to the library, getting them to the post office, so the public is not going to be that far inconvenienced. The security level at Mar-a-Lago is the highest it can possibly be now. The road closures are back in place and will remain there. The checkpoints are in place. And my commitment to the Secret Service is to give them every possible resource from PBSO. Once they determine the level of security that they need, they will get all the resources possible. So having said that, I'll let you talk to the U.S. Attorney.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Mackenzie Lapointe. I am the United States Attorney for the Southern District of Florida. I want to start by expressing my deep gratitude to Sheriff Rick Bradshaw of Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office for hosting today's press conference and for his department's assistance with this matter. I'm truly grateful for your leadership, sir. I'm also pleased to be joined by our partners in federal law enforcement from the FBI and the United States Secret Service, and also from ATF. Joining us today for comments and announcements are Special Agent in Charge Jeffrey B. Veltri of the FBI Miami Field Office, and Acting Director of the U.S. Secret Service, Ron Rowe. I want to also thank the men and women in law enforcement who have been working around the clock in the initial phase of this ongoing investigation. Our partners include federal and local authorities who effectuated the apprehension of the defendant and have aided in ensuring federal charges were filed against him. We're here to announce that Ryan Wesley Routh, 58 years old, of Hawaii, has been charged by a criminal complaint in the Southern District of Florida with firearms offenses related to an incident which occurred yesterday at Trump International Golf Course right here in West Palm Beach. Routh was charged federally with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and possession and receipt of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. He had his initial appearance today before Magistrate Judge Ryan McCabe in the federal courthouse in West Palm Beach. According to the allegations in the complaint, a U.S. Secret Service agent walking the golf course perimeter saw what appeared to be a rifle poking out of the tree line. After the agent fired a service weapon in the direction of the rifle, a witness saw a man later identified as Routh fleeing the area in the tree line. Routh was later apprehended by officers from the Martin County Sheriff's Office in coordination with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. The complaint alleges that in the area of the tree line from which Routh fled, agents found a digital camera, a backpack, a loaded SKS-style rifle with a scope, and a black plastic bag containing food. The serial number on the rifle was obliterated. According to the complaint, Routh was convicted of felonies in North Carolina in December 2002 and March 2010, and therefore was prohibited from possessing a firearm. The FBI is leading this investigation, this ongoing investigation. As the Attorney General stated earlier today, the FBI is continuing its investigation of this incident as an assassination attempt upon the former president. The investigation remains at its early stages. The entire Justice Department and the national security partners to fully investigate and prosecute this matter. The charges we're announcing reflect the strong collaboration of the agencies represented here. The U.S. Attorney's Office, the Department of Justice, unable to carry forth our mission without the invaluable assistance of our federal, state, and local law enforcement partners. I would like to thank the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, and we have Chris Robinson here, Special Agent in Charge, and your Secret Service for the invaluable assistance they are providing, they have been providing. I would also like to recognize the Palm Beach County and Martin County Sheriff's Offices for apprehending the defendant. Again, without the local authorities to assist in those things, it would be literally impossible to accomplish the things we're able to accomplish on the federal side. I want to personally express my gratitude to the attorneys with the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida and the Counterterrorism Section of the Justice Department's National Security Division for their nonstop work over the last 24 to 30 hours. Together we will continue to work tirelessly to ensure accountability and the pursuit of justice. At this time I will invite FBI Special Agent in Charge Jeff Veltri to the podium. After Special Agent in Charge Veltri completes his remarks, Acting Director of the U.S. Secret Service, Ron Rowe, will provide remarks before we open the floor for a few questions. On our end, given that this is a pending matter before the court and the investigation is ongoing, all comments will be limited. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. For a quick introduction, my name is Jeffrey Veltri, FBI Special Agent in Charge for the Miami Field Office. The FBI immediately responded to the scene here in West Palm Beach, Florida, and we are investigating this matter as an apparent assassination attempt of former President Trump. We view this as extremely serious and are determined to provide answers as to what led up to the events which took place. I want to emphasize we're just a little over 24 hours into this investigation, so we're going to provide as much as we can publicly while our investigation is still ongoing. We must also stress that the United States Attorney's Office is pursuing charges, and that limits some of the details that we can discuss publicly. Yesterday afternoon, Martin County Sheriff's Office took custody of Ryan Routh, and he was transported back to Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. Our FBI agents then attempted to interview him, and he invoked his right to an attorney. In the last 24 hours, the FBI and our partners have been dedicated to investigating the incident and utilizing all available resources. These efforts have included our investigative team and the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida, in conjunction with DOJ's National Security Division, are actively working hand in hand to pursue and subsequently execute search warrants. Thus far, The warrants include a video recording device, subject's cellular devices, a vehicle, and other electronic devices located at previous known addresses. We are coordinating with the United States Secret Service to complete numerous interviews of agents on scene. We have also interviewed 7 civilian witnesses at the scene, and that is just the beginning. Our FBI's Honolulu and Charlotte field offices have initiated interviews of several family members, friends, and former colleagues of the subject. FBI has deployed several specialty teams and assets from FBI headquarters and our lab division in Quantico to include evidence and critical incident response personnel. The evidence response team is collecting and processing multiple evidentiary items. These range from the rifle, which is an SKS model with a scope and obliterated serial numbers, to 2 bags, the subject's electronics, and what appears to be ceramic tiles. DNA has also been collected from those items, which are being sent to Quantico for testing. We will also process the subject's vehicle for evidence. The Cellular Analysis Survey Team, what we refer to as CAST, conducted thorough analysis of the subject's cellular device locations. The CAST analysis aligns with witnesses' account of the subject's presence at the scene both before and around the time of the incident on September 15th. More specifically, we're continuing to conduct analysis and will be compiling the subject's movements in the days and months leading up to September 15th. Cellular data shows that the subject was in the vicinity of the golf course roughly 12 hours before the engagement with the United States Secret Service. Our investigative teams conducted a neighborhood canvass in an effort to collect and obtain relevant video footage. The subject had an active online presence, and we are going through what he posted and any searches he conducted online. In addition, we're going through media reports and public statements he made that he wanted to recruit Afghan soldiers and others to fight for Ukraine. The FBI has sent multiple requests to companies for returns on the subject's phone and social media accounts. We received several returns and are waiting on additional responses from other companies as well. Our investigative team is completing analysis of the returns and actioning leads as needed, and we anticipate continuing until the FBI knows the full totality of the subject's social media presence. By way of his background, in 2002, as the United States Attorney mentioned, the subject was charged and convicted in North Carolina for possession of a weapon of mass destruction. Law enforcement checks also revealed that from 1997 to 2010, the subject had numerous felony charges for stolen goods. I can also share with you that he was the subject of a previously closed 2019 tip to the FBI where it was alleged he was a felon in possession of a firearm. In following up on the tip, the alleged complainant was interviewed and did not verify, I repeat, did not verify providing the initial information. The FBI passed that information to local law enforcement in Honolulu. On behalf of the FBI, I would like to thank the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office and Martin County Sheriff's Office for their incredible work in actioning the witnesses' information and rapidly apprehending the subject. I would also like to thank the United States Secret Service, the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida, the Department of Justice's National Security Division, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, and our FBI field offices in both Honolulu and Charlotte, who have been conducting additional law enforcement activity related to the subject. Your continued partnerships have been invaluable. Oftentimes in law enforcement, we tell citizens to be vigilant and aware of their surroundings. Yesterday, a citizen provided remarkable assistance, which led to the arrest of this subject. We appreciate the public's diligence in passing potential tips and information regarding the subject and this incident to the FBI. If you have any information, please call 1-800-CALL-FBI or go online to tips, that's tips.fbi.gov. With that, let me turn it over to the United States Secret Service Acting Director, Ron Rowe.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yesterday afternoon, this country was reminded of the heightened and dynamic threat environment the United States Secret Service and its protectees face on a daily basis. Immediately following the assassination attempt of former President Donald J. Trump on July 13th, the Secret Service moved to increase assets to an already enhanced security posture for the former president. In the days that followed, President Biden made it clear that he wanted the highest levels of protection for former President Trump and for Vice President Harris. The Secret Service moved to sustain increases in assets and the level of protection sought. And those things were in place yesterday. At approximately 1:30 p.m., former President Trump was playing golf during an off-the-record movement to the Trump International Golf Course. A Secret Service advance agent supporting the front edge of the agency's layered approach to protection encountered an individual attempting to secrete himself in the woodline. This happened, the alleged gunman was on the public side of the fence near the 6th green. A layered approach of security is integral to the Secret Service's protective methodologies, and it's also the key to our success. As former President Trump was moving through the 5th fairway across the course and out of sight of the 6th green, the agent, who was visually sweeping the area of the 6th green, saw the subject armed with what he perceived to be a rifle and immediately discharged his firearm. The subject, who did not have line of sight to the former president, fled the scene. He did not fire or get off any shots at our agent. With reports of gunfire, the former president's close protection detail immediately evacuated the president to a safe location. The protective methodologies of the Secret Service were effective yesterday. The former president's protective apparatus allowed for the early identification of the threat and led to a safe evacuation. The increased assets directed by President Biden were in place yesterday. These included the counter-sniper team elements, counter-surveillance agents on the exterior, counter-assault teams partnered with local tactical assets from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, and counter-unmanned aerial system elements. All of these entities were present yesterday. And while all of these assets were in place, as I've said publicly, we must satisfy the basic requirements of the Secret Service's protective methodologies. In partnership with local law enforcement, we did just that. And the agents' hypervigilance and the detailed swift action was textbook. And I commend them and our partners for an exemplary response in keeping former President Trump safe. And I will tell you, having served in local law enforcement in Palm Beach County, I can state that I am tremendously impressed and appreciative for all of the efforts of the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Schneider with the Martin County Sheriff's Office. But what was critical to this was the quick reaction, the response, the hypervigilance of the men and women of the United States Secret Service, who since July 13th have been rising to meet an unprecedented and hyper-dynamic threat environment. And they are rising to this moment, and I could not be more proud of them and the way they have executed, not only yesterday, but what they're doing today and what they are doing tomorrow and what they will always do because it is their duty. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, a little slow here, folks. All right. Don't let everybody do it at once. Ask who you want to answer the question, and then give the question.
I have a question for you, Director. Yes, ma'am. Is there any evidence to suggest that the suspect knew that Donald Trump would be on the golf course at that time? And was the golf course searched thoroughly before the former president's arrival?
So at this time, it was an off-the-record movement, meaning it was not on the former president's official schedule. And what I go back to is the layered approach. The elements and the methodologies of the Secret Service. There was a front element. It did its job in sweeping ahead of the president. That's what identified this individual who was in that wood line. And the swift action of that agent doing his job pushing out ahead, sweeping, while the president was behind him several hundred yards and several holes away, out of sight from the gunman, did his job, and that was what alerted the detail, and the swift action is what triggered that.
On the first question, was there any evidence to suggest that the suspect knew that Donald Trump was going to be on that golf course at that time?
Based on what I know now, and it's an active investigation, I don't have any information on that.
Director, how many times did your agents go around the perimeter and scope out the golf course during the 12 hours that this guy was holed up in the shrubbery?
So this was an off-the-record movement. It wasn't a site that was on his scheduled. It wasn't part of his schedule. So there was no posting up of it because he wasn't supposed to have gone there in the first place.
Have you briefed former President Trump on your findings so far, and has his campaign asked for any changes in his security going forward after yesterday?
So,
Over here.
sorry. So I've had a conversation with the former president. We've explained and we've worked with the campaign. The president is aware that he has highest levels of protection that the Secret Service is providing him.
Specific reaction to what we saw yesterday?
We constantly evaluate based on threat. And yesterday what we show is that our agents and our protective methodologies, and there's a lot of tactical assets in place, things that have been put in place as a result of what happened 60 days ago, those elements are working, and that demonstrates the redundancies that we have. And so we constantly evaluate. We'll of course, look at this and see what lessons learned from it. But as of right now, we are constantly evaluating that threat. And if we need to ratchet up additionally, we will. Yes, sir.
Do we know when Routh arrived in Florida in general, when he arrived in Palm Beach, the area?
That's a question probably for the
specifically,
FBI.
and if he's been at the golf course prior to this scoping it out.
We're in the process of collecting a lot of evidence, and that will be part of that investigation to determine his whereabouts going back quite some time.
Do you have any detail on where he might have gotten the gun?
That's part of the investigation as well. Again, that's going to be a little bit challenged until we're able to determine the serial number on that gun. So we're hopeful to be able to do that. We're still looking into that.
The sheriff mentioned about the highest level of protection, that they would lock down the golf course. Was that a miscommunication then, being that President Biden ordered the highest level of protection?
Okay. So here's the deal. When it comes to Secret Service protection, we provide the highest level. So, for example, yesterday, counter-assault team elements. I'm not going to go into the number of personnel that we have out there, but we have the highest levels from Secret Service. When we work with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, like, for example, yesterday, during that emergency action response, we had their local tactical team assets partner with our local tactical team assets. We had their helicopter up in the air, providing us 360 and situational awareness of the overhead for if there were any potential threats coming at us. So what we did yesterday was exercise our emergency plan based on the number of tactical assets and the highest level of protection that we are providing. The sheriff and I have talked. Now, clearly, when you go down Southern Boulevard right now and you try to get over to Palm Beach and you see the robust presence that's existing outside of Mar-a-Lago, the heavy uniform presence, the additional assets of the Secret Service. And for those of you that were here in 2017, when the president was in office, when you look at that footprint now and you look at it today, there's not much difference there. There is heavy uniform presence out there. And again, what I go back to is yesterday was an off-the-record movement. Off the record. And the president wasn't even really supposed to go there. It was not on his official schedule. And so we put together a security plan, and that security plan worked.
In terms of him being in the vicinity, Special Agent Daltrey, in terms of him being in the vicinity, based on his phone records, is there any evidence to show that Routh was in the vicinity in the area before Sunday? And when you say in the vicinity, does that mean right there at that spot in those bushes, or could it have been down the street at a restaurant?
It was in very close proximity to where he was spotted by the Secret Service. In terms of your first question, whether he was there earlier, our investigation is still looking to determine that.
Whoa. We're going to do two more. You get one.
Thank you.
All right? Only two more. You get one.
Okay, we understand that the Secret Service has asked Congress for additional resources since the Butler rally. Have you received those resources yet?
So thank you for that question. So we are working.
Look, the Secret Service operates under a paradox of zero fail mission, but also that we have done more with less for decades. And this goes back many, 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 many decades, right? What I can tell you is that we have immediate needs right now, and we have great support, not only from President Biden, and you saw his public statement today, where he said that, he's going to direct his staff to make sure that the Secret Service has the resources it needs. We're having fantastic conversations with members of Congress. I've been up to the Hill last week. We are continuing to have those conversations. But the long and short of it is this. Coming out of Butler, I have ordered a paradigm shift. The Secret Service's protective methodologies work, and they are sound. And we saw that yesterday. But the way we are positioned right now in this dynamic threat environment, it has given me guidance to say, you know what, we need to look at what our protective methodology is. We need to get out of a reactive model and get to a readiness model. There could be another geopolitical event that could put the United States into a kinetic conflict or some other issue that may result in additional responsibilities and protectees of the United States Secret Service. And so we are working, we are making information available to all of our partners. And I just want to say that the commitment of Congress to the Secret Service throughout the years has been tremendous. And we will continue to work with them and Secretary Mayorkas, whose support in making sure that we're getting what we need has been phenomenal. He is one of our biggest champions and our advocate. And so we're having these conversations, and I feel confident that we will get what we need. We have immediate needs. We have future needs, too. I need to make sure that our counter snipers are the best trained counter snipers in the world, that they are exactly doing what we need them to do, and that they match counterparts in the military and Tier 1 forces. And right now, we are working with Congress to make sure that we get those for our training facility. We also have a necessary need to make sure that we're getting the personnel that we have. And that requires us to be able to have the funding to be able to hire more people. You can't just give me money and say, hey, we're going to make sure that everybody gets overtime. Because the men and women of the Secret Service right now, we are redlining them. And they are rising to this moment, and they are meeting the challenges right now. And if you look back at their body of work over the last 60 days, the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, the Republican National Convention in Chicago, a visit of Prime Minister Netanyahu to Washington, D.C., and to West Palm Beach, which Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office supported. And then we go into the presidential debate in Philadelphia last week. And for those in the media that have been to a national special security event, if you saw the National Constitution Center last week, what you saw was pretty much a mini national special security event with the number of assets that were on that perimeter. And so our folks are rising to this moment, but it requires all of us to be able to have good conversations and make sure that we're getting the Secret Service where it needs to be. And I'm confident that we will achieve that because we don't have an alternative. Success, we have to have it every day. We cannot have failures. And in order to do that, we're going to have some hard conversations with Congress, and we're going to achieve that.
Last question, one more.
For the special agent in charge of the FBI,
Yes, sir.
did he act alone? Did he have some kind of help?
At this point, we're still exploring that, investigating that. Our investigation will determine that. We do not have information that he's been acting with anyone else at present.
Do we know how long he's been in Florida when he arrived?
Oh, you snuffed one in.
I did. At this point,
Our investigation is still determining that. Thank
Did
you.
anyone see him?
All right.
How was he able to
Anyhow,
oh,
that's it. We're not going to do any more. All right, you got a lot of information there. The last thing I will tell you is, like the director of the Secret Service says, the president called me last night, President Trump. He thanked me for everything that we did along with the Secret Service. He knows we work great together, and he feels safe. That's important because he is. And what we did yesterday proves that the system can work because the suspect didn't even get close to getting a round off, and we apprehended him and brought him to justice.
did the president
So
say
we're very, very proud of that. Thank you, folks, for being here.
All right, so that was the press conference. Glad we got to look at that. I want to take some of your comments on the press conference, see what you thought about it. I did want to mention the information about where the suspect was, which we actually saw, which they mentioned. So they said that Trump was on the 5th hole fairway. And I believe from what Sean Hannity said, he was going up to the green. So Trump would be up here, because that's the 5th hole fairway and the green's here. And the suspect was at the fence near the 6th hole green. The 6th hole green is here. So the suspect was right around here at the fence on the public side of the fence. And Trump was right over here, but he was not within the line of sight of the suspect, okay? So if Trump had played the next hole, he would have ended up right in front of the suspect, because that is the 6th green, and that's the end of the next hole, and the suspect was at the fence at the 6th green. But from where the suspect was, the suspect did not have line of sight to Trump, because Trump was basically behind these trees here, and the suspect was here at the fence, and Trump would be back here behind the trees. Okay? But, I mean, even once Trump started walking, I don't know if he could have seen Trump on the green, but once Trump started playing the 6th hole, he would have had line of sight. How did he get discovered? A Secret Service agent was walking the edge of the course, doing advanced scouting ahead of Trump, and saw the rifle barrel sticking out of the bushes. But he was basically here, and he was basically there for 12 hours. He was in that vicinity, close to there, for 12 hours. Old Man Yells at Clouds says that Trump takes a cart, not walking. Well, even if he was on a cart coming up the fairway, he would still be in line of sight on the 6th fairway. Fine Wine says, dude was there at 1 a.m. casing the joint. I believe he showed up around 2 a.m., the phone data said. And if we zoom in here, oops. Yeah, so that's basically, he was right in here. And, you know, I know you can't see much there, but I guess he was at the fence, and once you're at the fence, you can see through to the golf course. So he was in these bushes on this street. I want to take a few comments and questions for you guys. There was an article I want to look at in the Washington Post today talking about how I believe the idea is that security had concerns about Trump playing golf previously, that it could be a security risk. We'll look at that in a second. The article is, where is it here? Trump's golf outings have long concerned Secret Service. Okay, we'll check that out in a second. But I want to take some comments from you guys. What did you think about the press conference? And we'll take a few comments from you. Let's see here. One of our viewers said probably you can see the black bags along the green bushes. You know, we still don't know. In the document, in the charging document, it says that the Secret Service agent saw the barrel of the gun, saw the rifle sticking out. That's this document right here. It says the Secret Service agent saw what appeared to be a rifle poking out of the tree line. Then in the press conference, I think what was said was that the Secret Service agent saw the suspect holding a gun. Now, that might have been a loose way of speaking in the press conference, but I still don't know exactly what the Secret Service agent saw. Did they literally just see the rifle poking out and couldn't see who was holding the rifle? Maybe that was the case, but we don't know exactly what the Secret Service agent saw. And, you know, showing you again this picture of what they found when they went to the fence here. Where is it here? It's from which article is it? Oops. Let me get that article up again so I can show you that picture again. The article is right. This one here. 5 things to know about the apparent assassination attempt on Trump. And it had this picture in the article. So you can see there, that's the fence. And you can see that there's a view through the fence. I mean, the bushes don't cover the whole fence. So that guy could look through the fence. And you can see the 2 bags and the GoPro and the rifle. But, you know, did the Secret Service agent see the guy at all or just see the rifle? That I don't know. Tanya says not very much brush there. Now, I don't know what it looks like around there because we can only see that area, but you can see in that area, you can see right through. Oh, the weapon of mass destruction charge, according to the Greensboro, what was it, News and Observer, I think it was, that was a machine gun. Hold on a second here. Give me 1 second here. See if I can pull that up for you. Because I know some people are hearing he had a weapons of mass destruction charge, but that I believe was for a machine gun. Hang on a second here. Where is this thing here? Pull this up. Oh, there it is. You know, I know we saw it yesterday. I'm just trying to find the article I saw it in. I can't find it right now. Was it the Greensboro News and Observer? Yeah, so the Greensboro News and Record. The Greensboro News and Record. I'm sorry, I was saying News and Observer. The Greensboro News and Record said back in 2002 that Routh was charged with possession of a weapon of mass destruction, which referred to a fully automatic machine gun. That was in an incident, according to Greensboro News and Record, in 2002, in which he barricaded himself in a business during a standoff with police. That was in 2002, according to Greensboro News and Record. So when you hear that he was charged with having a weapon of mass destruction, that refers to a machine gun. RK108 says means, motive, and intent. You know, we don't have a motive yet. As some of you are aware, probably a bunch of you are aware, the suspect, Ryan Routh, was really into the cause of supporting Ukraine against the Russian invasion. And he put a lot of effort into trying to recruit people to go over there and fight for Ukraine and help Ukraine out. There is a video, which I can't show because I don't have the rights to, but I posted it on my social media yesterday. Originally, BNO News found it. BNO News Live, I think it was, and I reposted them. And it's actually interesting to watch. It's about a 10-minute video on YouTube where Ryan Routh talks about I believe it's when he is in Ukraine, and he talks about wanting to get more people to come to Ukraine to help out Ukraine fight off the Russian invasion. So I'll post a link to that in the chat now. Let me just find it right here. Yeah, it's right here. Again, I can't show the video. I don't have the rights to it. Video. I'm posting it in the chat right now. But it's about 10 minutes of him talking and talking about how people should go support Ukraine and his reasons why. And he really, you know, was against the Russian invasion of Ukraine. That was a video from 2 years ago. From, well, 3 years, it was, yeah, 2 years ago. It was June 2022, posted by Newsweek Romania. So you can check that out. But that clearly was a topic that was really important to him. So, you know, in some way, did that factor into why he apparently did what he's accused of doing yesterday? I have no idea. But if you watch the video, you can see it's clearly a topic that's really important to him. I mean, he actually went to Ukraine for a while. Look, this is a photo right here from Associated Press. This is a 2022 photo of Ryan Wesley Routh in Ukraine holding up a banner during a rally in central Kyiv, Ukraine, where he went. He said, "Please, world, we need everyone here. This is good against evil. These children want normal lives. We cannot tolerate corruption and evil for another 50 years. End Russia for our kids." So clearly this was a topic that was quite important to him. See if there's any other pictures of him posted here in one of these articles. Here's another picture of him from AP, from this article. It's the same. It's April 30th, 2022, which might be the same date. It's just a different picture of him with the sign. Suspect in apparent assassination attempt on Trump was near golf course for 12 hours, records show. By the way, there's another photo. That's him when he was getting taken into custody right there. Is he Ukrainian or just sympathetic? He's not from Ukraine. I don't know if he has any Ukrainian ethnicity. I haven't heard that, but I don't know for sure. Let me read you some stuff here from Associated Press about the suspect. Okay? Authorities continue to examine Routh's potential motive and movements in the days and weeks leading up to Sunday, when a Secret Service agent assigned to Trump's security detail spotted a firearm poking out of shrubbery on the West Palm Beach golf course where Trump was playing. The agent fired. Routh escaped into a sport utility vehicle, leaving behind a digital camera, a backpack, a loaded SKS, two backpacks, a loaded SKS-style assault rifle, and plastic bag containing food. He had been in the at the golf course for roughly 12 hours. The FBI is continuing to investigate how long the Hawaii man had been in Florida. Body camera footage posted on Facebook. Oh, let's look at the body camera footage. I didn't realize Martin County Sheriff's Office posted it. We can look at the body camera footage of him getting arrested. Hold on a second here. He did not fire any shots. I didn't realize they had posted it on their Facebook page. Here it is right here. Look, I got it. I'm going to pull it up for you. I'll actually make it big. Two body cam footages of here. Let's look at the Martin County Sheriff's Office body cam. And there's the picture of him right there, by the way. Would-be assassin takes wrong exit, says the Martin County Sheriff's Office. Yeah, I've seen some of the body cam footage. I just didn't realize they had posted it on their Facebook, so I can show it. All right, hold on. Let me pull this up here for you. I'm going to put it on the screen. If you give me a second, I'm going to put the body cam footage on the screen and we'll watch it. Now, let me just get this set up here. What's the best way to do this? Okay. All right, this is from the Martin County Sheriff's Office. It's from their page. Here it is. I'm going to play it for you right now. There's two angles. Okay, here is angle one. Here is angle one of them taking him into custody. Put it right there. Ready? Here is angle number one. It's way too loud. I need to lower the volume. I need to lower the volume. I will lower the volume.
Driver! Take 2 steps to your right! Take 2 steps to your right! Driver! Walk straight back! Keep walking! Keep that long.
All right, that's angle one. Now let's go to angle number two. Here is angle number two.
2 steps to your right! Take 2 steps to your right! Driver! Walk straight back! Keep walking!
What's your name, Austin? Ryan? So he wants to do car's not cool.
So there's the body cam footage from Martin County Sheriff's Office. Hang on, I was somebody said why was his shirt up? Do you think that the police have him do that to show he's not doesn't have any weapons or anything? I was reading you a little about this suspect though. Let me read you a little more about the suspect here. From Associated Press. People are saying yes, that's why they think he had this shirt up. Billy Joe says the police made him pull his shirt up. By the way, a quick thanks to Queen of the South, our member. Also, I want to shout out our moderators. Oh, thanks, by the way, to Kristen Gates. Thank you so much, Kristen Gates. I really appreciate your support for the channel. And also, thanks to Rivertown Creations on Twitch for your support, and Specific Gravity, the Dancing Dragon. Really appreciate that. Thanks for following the channel. Specific Gravity, the Dancing Dragon. Thank you. Also, let me say a quick shout out to our moderators who are the reason that we can even have chat rooms. So I really appreciate it. Sarah55 and Ruth Krafasi are moderating over on YouTube. Linda Belk and Larry moderate for us on X. A Moment of Lovely, Big Ball of Yarn, Idaho Star, I Got That Fire, Sarah, Papa Bear, Surly Dev, and Tariag on Twitch. And on Facebook, we have moderating Kay Lowry Body, Raven Riley, and all of our other moderators over there, Beth Shepard, Paul Anderson, thank you for moderating. So I was in the middle of reading you a little about the suspect here. So we just showed that body camera footage showing his arrest. The video shows him walking backward with his hands over his head on the side of the road before being handcuffed and led away by law enforcement. Okay, here. The FBI has interviewed family members, friends, and colleagues and has served a battery of search warrants to collect evidence. No motive has been disclosed, and Routh invoked his right to an attorney when questioned, so he's not talking, apparently. Investigators are also examining Routh's large online footprint, which suggests a man of evolving political viewpoints, culminating in an apparent disdain for Trump and intense outrage at global events concerning China and especially Ukraine. Routh self-published a 2023 book called Ukraine's Unwinnable War, in an apparently self-published book, in which he wrote, "You are free to assassinate Trump." And in that book, it described the former president as a fool and buffoon for both the January 6, 2021 Capitol riots and the tremendous blunder of leaving the Iran nuclear deal. Routh once wrote that he once voted for Trump and must take part of the blame for the child that we elected for our next president that ended up being brainless. He also tried to recruit fighters for Ukraine to defend itself against Russia. And he had a website seeking to raise money and recruit volunteers to vote for Kyiv. I know yesterday I was looking at, during our broadcast, the Twitter account of Ryan Routh, which I believe is the legit Twitter account. And most of it was not about Trump or Biden. A lot of it was about, like, things like asking several messages to famous musicians, asking them for help with his song he had wrote about Ukraine. Also, lots of posts about him having contacts to hundreds or thousands of NATO-trained Afghan fighters and him being able to, like, offer their use in places like Haiti. There were a lot of posts like that. So just to be clear, it wasn't like he was posting all about Trump on his social media. I know a number of you have seen that stuff. The Twitter account was suspended yesterday. The Facebook page was taken down. But I just want, in case you haven't seen it, there was a bunch of posts that seemed kind of strange. And in these posts, he would like write posts to famous musicians and stuff and famous people and include apparently his phone number and his email address in the post. He had sent some posts recently to Bruno Mars, the musician, asking for help with this thing that was this landmark, I think, that was getting destroyed in Hawaii, I believe it was. Anyways, so it was some posts that to me and a bunch of other people seemed odd on his social media. It wasn't all Trump stuff, certainly. Anyways, you can see here he tried to recruit fighters for Ukraine to defend itself against Russia, and he had a website seeking to raise money and recruit volunteers to fight for Kyiv. And actually, he went to Ukraine for a time. I think it was 2022 when he was there. Voter records show he was registered as an unaffiliated voter in North Carolina in 2012, most recently voting in person during the state's Democratic primary in March. He had made 19 small donations totaling $140 since 2019 to Act Blue, a political action committee that supports Democratic candidates, according to federal campaign finance records. And then a little more on him. Criminal record. One of the two criminal accounts alleges he illegally possessed his gun in spite of multiple felony convictions, including 2 charges of possessing stolen goods in 2002 in North Carolina. The other charge alleges the serial number was obliterated and unreadable to the naked eye in violation of federal law. His attorney declined to comment after Monday's brief court appearance when he was ordered to remain locked up after prosecutors argued he was a flight risk. He was also the subject of a previously closed 2019 tip to the FBI that alleged he was a felon in possession of a firearm, said the FBI agent at the press conference today. The FBI interviewed the tipster, who did not verify the initial information. The FBI passed that info on to local law enforcement in Honolulu. There's another article I'm going to show you, I think, in a little bit with more about his life, the suspect. But again, that's him in Ukraine in 2022, holding up a sign that says, "Please, world, we need everyone here. This is good against evil. These children want normal lives. We cannot tolerate corruption and evil for another 50 years. End Russia for our kids." Hey, a quick thanks to Serpico, 7272. Really appreciate your support. And also Sino. Thank you, Sino. And Marty Hagwood. That's very generous of you, Marty. Thanks so much for all of your support, Marty Hagwood. That is really kind of you, Marty. Thank you. I want to take some more comments and questions from you guys before Moving on to another thing I wanted to show you here, but hang on a moment here. Alexander G says FBI has kept tabs on him for 5 years. I don't know how long they were keeping up with him. I mean, there was that tip back in 2019 that the article talks about, that was talked about in the press conference, a tip to the FBI. I don't know if they've been, how strongly they've been keeping an eye on him. If he was, he also did an interview, I think, with the New York Times in, I think it was 2023, but I might be wrong about that. I think it was 2023, where about trying to get people to come to Ukraine. So I would not be surprised if, given that he was a U.S. citizen who had traveled to Ukraine and was trying to recruit people to come to Ukraine and had been in the press doing this, I wouldn't be surprised if the U.S. government was keeping tabs on him in some sort of sense. I don't know for sure, though, but that would not surprise me. There was the New York Times interview was in, hang on a second here. Yes, in 2023, he talked to the New York Times about Americans volunteering to aid Ukraine. I saw that article last night. Red Squirrel thinks he had to be under surveillance. Now, was he under constant surveillance? Was he maybe under surveillance in Ukraine or something and then they stopped? I don't know. Kuna Berger says he was on the radar of the FBI. AKR says, who hired him? Now, the FBI says they have no evidence at this point that he was working with anyone. Checking some of the messages people have sent me. Hold on one second here. Our viewer Aurora Borealis says, aren't we still waiting on answers about the shooter from the first assassination attempt? I hope this doesn't eclipse the other shooting. We need answers. I don't know where. There's supposed to be a report coming out eventually about the first assassination attempt. I don't know exactly where that stands with the first assassination attempt report. It's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if I can really quickly find something here about it. I mean, the FBI has a site about it, and it has not updated since. Oh yeah, it's look right here. FBI. August 28, FBI special agent in charge's remarks to media on updates about the Butler investigation. I don't want to play this. Oh yeah, so this is like a transcript. As of September 28th, they were still doing the investigation. They say that they've gotten valuable insight into his mindset, but not a definite motive. They have no credible evidence indicating he conspired with anybody else. They continue to investigate. This is the first assassination attempt. I'll post a link to this. If you want to see the FBI update page on the first assassination attempt, I will post a link in the chat. And you can go read that update. The most recent update on that page was August 28th. So you can go check that out. Okay. Let's see here. Hey, thanks to Serpico7272 from Canada. Thank you. Hey, I want to show you a couple things here. I wanted to look at this. This is an article from the Washington Post. Trump's golf outings have long concerned Secret Service. I wanted to show you this article. Trump's golf outings have long concerned Secret Service. This is from the Washington Post. They say soon after Donald Trump became president, authorities tried to warn him about the risks posed by golfing at his own courses because of their proximity to public roads. Secret Service agents came armed with unusual evidence, not suspect profiles or spent bullet casings, but simple photographs taken by news crews of Trump golfing at his private club in Sterling, Virginia. They reasoned that if photographers with long-range lenses could get the president in their sights while he golfed, so too could potential gunmen, according to former U.S. officials involved in the discussions who, like most others interviewed for the story, spoke in the condition of anonymity because of the matter's sensitivity. But Trump insisted his clubs were safe and he wanted to keep golfing, the former official said. These preferences posed problems for his protection that former Trump aides, Secret Service officials, and security experts said have only intensified in the years since he left the White House, as his security detail shrank and agents no longer maintained as extensive a perimeter guarding his movements. A Trump spokesman did not respond to a request for comment. The problems became gravely apparent on Sunday when a gunman pushed a semi-automatic rifle through the bushes at Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach, Florida, in what authorities are investigating as a possible effort to assassinate him, Trump, the second attempt on his life in as many months. Trump was unharmed. In a post on social media, he thanked Secret Service and law enforcement, saying it was certainly an interesting day. The job done was absolutely outstanding. Okay. On Monday, the Secret Service director, Ronald Rowe, led a walkthrough of the incident site where the suspected gunman was able to get a weapon within 500 yards of the former president. Rowe stressed in a news conference that the agency's methods had worked in averting catastrophe. The protective methodologies of the Secret Service were effective yesterday. He also emphasized, yes, he said this multiple times in the press conference, the Secret Service director, that Trump's outing had been unplanned, forcing authorities to work on the fly. The president wasn't even really supposed to go there, he said. It was not on his official schedule. Okay. Let me just kind of skip a little ahead here. Well, actually, this is interesting. I want to kind of go through this here. This is from the Washington Post. At the end, the article is about Trump's golf outings have long concerned Secret Service. So they say here, yesterday's episode adds to pressure on the Secret Service, which has been under scrutiny since a gunman gained a clear sight line to Trump at his July rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, and fired shots that hit one of them which hit Trump's ear, grazed his ear. The rally shooting 2 months ago reflected what lawmakers and Secret Service leadership have described as a major security failure, poor planning and unsecured roof, et cetera, et cetera. Secret Service leaders are already probing if any of those factors contributed to a gunman's ability to once again get within striking distance of Trump. The incident in West Palm Beach was in many ways a more predictable debacle. Indeed, Trump aides and Secret Service agents have long worried about his possible exposure while golfing. Again, Trump aides and Secret Service agents have long worried about his possible exposure while golfing. The issue, they say, is twofold. He selects locations to golf, his own clubs, that are particularly difficult to secure. And then he follows a highly predictable routine on any given weekend. A former senior U.S. official tells the Washington Post, people are saying, how did Routh know he'd be at the golf course? Well, if you were looking for Trump on a Sunday afternoon, I can tell you where he'd be. Whatever golf course of his that was closest to where he was. Bill Gage, a former agent, said the gunman probably didn't need to do very sophisticated surveillance. He just had to sit and wait for Trump to arrive, he said. You don't have to do a lot of guessing to know where he is going to be, and that gives a bad guy time to prepare, he said. Again, phone records show that the guy was there, according to the authorities, he was there for around 12 hours before he was spotted by a Secret Service agent. Trump pitches and putts at his own private clubs, elite enclaves that are nevertheless open to some members of the public and their guests. The courses are located in heavily trafficked communities, and while they're surrounded by some fencing, the greens lack hardened perimeters. The result is a security nightmare for the Secret Service and their partners in local law enforcement, particularly without the added staff and tools devoted to protecting the sitting president. At this level he's at right now, he's not the sitting president, said the Palm Beach County Sheriff yesterday. If he was, we would have had the entire course surrounded, but because he's not, security is limited to the areas that the Secret Service deems possible. Okay. Again, he was in an area of shrubbery, the suspect, and that was he was on, again, we heard today in the press conference, the shooter, the suspect, the assassination attempt suspect was at the fence line near the 6th green, and this is the 6th hole green right there. And Trump was walking on the fairway on the 5th hole, which is up here. So the suspect, if Trump had played the next hole, he would have ended up at the 6th green right near where the suspect was on the fence here. Okay, and it says here, let's see here, from this Washington Post article, hold on, where was I here? It's interesting. Current and former agents said a counter-sniper team typically travels one hole ahead of Trump to scope out potential risks. Another counter-sniper team travels a hole behind to make sure there is no danger lurking in his wake as he moves forward on the fairway, protecting what's called the 6 o'clock position. A counter-sniper agent, a counter-assault agent, and some of the members of his regular detail travel alongside Trump, who typically drives his own golf cart. Trump likes to play quickly and drive alone, even if friends or aides join him for a few holes, according to people who have accompanied him on the links. The part of the course where he was playing at the time is adjacent to both Summit Boulevard and South Congress Ave, busy streets, busy thoroughfares near Palm Beach International Airport. During Trump's presidency, his golf outings were a constant source of consternation. I think that basically means like worry, according to former officials. Anxiety or dismay, says the Google Dictionary. Secret Service agents knew they wouldn't be able to dissuade him from golfing, one former official said, so they asked him, mostly without success, to instead change his routine, at least to avoid going to the same club at the same time every week. Trump's practices differed from those of Barack Obama, who golfed frequently as president, but usually at a course on the grounds of the military's Joint Base Andrews in Prince George's County, or while vacationing in Hawaii on military bases there. Such courses are insulated from public roadways, and anyone on the links would have undergone rigorous screening. Even high-ranking military officials were turned away if their tee times conflicted with a presidential outing, said Gage, the former agent. Still, authorities have gone to great lengths to keep Trump safe while golfing. Agents kept a wider perimeter around him when he was president, establishing checkpoints at his clubs and trying to limit foot traffic around him, according to a former senior official. Some of those practices have fallen to the wayside in recent years, according to golf club guests. People who have played at Trump's golf club in West Palm Beach, which is where the incident happened yesterday, said they were surprised that they were not screened more extensively or kept away from the former president. One person who played there last year said he wasn't asked any questions or subject to a bag search. After he finished his round, the person said, he walked into the clubhouse and took a corner table near where Trump later came to dine. Interesting. A Secret Service official told the Washington Post that Trump's security was bolstered following the July assassination attempt in Butler. The size of the Secret Service team protecting him on the course yesterday was similar to the resources provided when he was president. A drone was in use yesterday to give agents an overview of the course. Counter-surveillance agents were deployed to survey the area, and protective intelligence agents were on hand to assess possible risks. Trump is hardly the first president to golf or to come into crosshairs of people who want to do harm. Anyways. This is interesting. When when was this? 3 decades later, fear that golfing made presidents soft targets intensified when an armed man barreled through the gates of Augusta National Golf Course while Ronald Reagan was playing the 16th hole. The intruder, Charles R. Harris, took 5 hostages and demanded to speak with Reagan. I never knew about this, or I forgot about it. After the crisis, Reagan gave up golfing except for the private course on the grounds of the Sunnylands estate, according to a 2005 book by a former longtime Secret Service agent. Did you guys know about that thing about Reagan? I didn't know about that. Is there a Wikipedia article on that? Hulk Smash says, I remember that. There's a Golf Digest article saying that in 1983, a guy wanted to talk to the president, so he stormed Augusta National. Wow, I didn't even know that. Anyways, you can find stuff online about it. The Golf Digest has a whole article about it. I'll post a link to the Golf Digest article. I know that. I don't even know that I ever heard about that ever. ESPN has an article about it from 2013, saying that a guy named Charlie Harris smashed his Dodge pickup through one of the club's gates and raced to the clubhouse, and then took 5 hostages. I don't even know what ultimately happened. Oh, Harris, according to the ESPN article, Harris's mother and ex-wife went to the golf course, went to the clubhouse, and he surrendered and served a short prison sentence, found God, and died in 2007. That's according to the ESPN article. I'll post a link to the ESPN article too. Anyways, that was an interesting. I want to get your comments. It's an interesting article. And again, we were just reading this article in the Washington Post. Trump's golf outings have long concerned Secret Service, but it's, they point out then when Obama golfed a bunch, but they said he normally played at like military courses, and that Trump has been playing at his own courses a lot, but they tend, I guess they tend to be in these very public areas. So Just to read you the start of this article again, it says, soon after Donald Trump became president, authorities tried to warn him about the risks posed by golfing at his own courses because of their proximity to public roads. Secret Service agents came armed with unusual evidence, not suspect profiles or spent bullet casings, but simple photographs taken by news crews of him golfing at his private club in Sterling, Virginia. They reasoned if photographers with long-range lenses could get the president in their sights while he golfed, so too could potential gunmen, according to former U.S. officials involved in discussions. But Trump insisted that his clubs were safe and wanted to keep golfing, the former officials said. These preferences have posed problems for his protection that former Trump aides, Secret Service officials, and security experts said have only intensified in the years since he left the White House. Anyways. So, I thought it was an interesting article. All right, let me take some comments from you guys. Oh, and just so you can see here, you know, I know a lot of you know this by now, but this course is right in the middle of a you know, highly settled area, highly settled city, urban area, I guess you could call it. Does it count as urban? I mean, it's densely a densely settled area, and it's right across the street from houses and businesses and all that stuff. Chaz says a ton of people live there. Where was his vehicle was for 12 hours, Jake's Online says. Yeah, some people have asked that. We don't know. I don't know if he just parked it over in one of these parking lots or something. I mean, there's plenty of parking lots in the area, whether or not he was allowed to park there. But I don't know where his vehicle was. We haven't heard that. Let's see here. AYZ says, I remember someone complaining about this a year back. You mean the golfing in public, you're saying, or golfing in places near where the public is? And also a course where, golfing at courses where they're not, you know, necessarily checking everyone. You know, this article mentions people who have played at Trump's club in West Palm Beach said they were surprised they weren't screened more extensively or kept away from the former president. One person who played last year says he wasn't asked any questions or subject to a bag search. After he finished his round, the person said he walked into the clubhouse and took a corner table near where Trump later came to dine. So I thought that was interesting. Ozzy thinks if he needs more security for his golfing adventurers, he should pay for it. A couple of our viewers, like Ian Fleming, have talked about him building an actual wall around the course. You know, there's no wall there right now. It's a fence, apparently a chain link fence with bushes over it. Chaz says, build that wall. Oh, I did think it was also interesting in the article that it talked about him not switching up his schedule. The article said that, you know, he basically plays golf a lot of Sundays, and it wouldn't have been hard for the suspect, if he paid attention to what Trump did in the past, to guess that he might be there, which was interesting. Because you know, people have wondered, if it was an unplanned event, how did the suspect know he would be there? So in the article it says, right here, Trump aides and Secret Service agents have long worried about his possible exposure while golfing. The issue, they say, is twofold. He selects locations to golf his own clubs that are particularly difficult to secure, and then he follows a highly predictable routine on any given weekend. People are saying, how did Routh know he would be there, said a former senior U.S. official. Well, if you were looking for Trump on a Sunday afternoon, I can tell you where he'd be. Whatever golf course that was closest to where he was. And Bill Gage, a former agent, said the gunman probably did not need to do very sophisticated surveillance. So I thought that was interesting. So yeah, maybe Fweaky Beat says so he waited for 12 hours and got lucky. Did the suspect know enough about Trump to know, like, yeah, frequently he goes golfing on Sunday, and if he's staying at Mar-a-Lago, often he'll go at this course. I don't know. I mean, he could have not known any of that and gotten, like, just crazy lucky. Or maybe he actually knew some about Trump's usual weekend schedule. Don't know. Now, Jack Mattaccioni in our chat thinks he was tipped off. Again, the FBI right now says they have no evidence anybody was working with him, but we'll see if they say anything about that. It's Just Me says he'd have to get a permit for a wall. Doubt the city would allow it. I also don't know if the people who play at the club would like having a wall there. Thanks to MetaGuide for your support. I appreciate it, MetaGuide. Let's see here. Oh, by the way, I think J.D. Vance might have said something tonight about this. I want to check the J.D. Vance appearance. J.D. Vance made an appearance a little while ago, and I have the video, so I can check and see what he said in person. Let's see. Our viewer, Elastic Brain, says the government should provide adequate protection regardless. Sean Hannity said he was asked the day before to golf with them by that guest. Storm Laughter says, I'll bet the suspect has camped like that many times in many places before. Maybe he did. Maybe he had camped out there before. Yellow says he may have been looking for many Sundays. Jamie Rowland says, I wonder if he has been stalking Trump. Thanks to our new member, Blue Ridger 28, by the way. Thank you. Rhonda Williams says, I'm sure there will be some changes at the course. Paul Vest thinks the property needs better video surveillance. There might be cameras that we're not aware of that show the incident. Maybe there are. Either on the course or that maybe law enforcement had them. Actually, we read in that article, in the Washington Post article, it said there was a drone. There might be drone footage, which we'll never see, of the whole thing. Right? There could be drone footage of the whole thing. I don't know if we'll ever see it. Maybe I'll check the J.D. Vance thing. I would think he might have said something right when he started to speak tonight. So why don't we check that? I'm going to look right now and see. I have him up on the screen here from earlier. And I'm looking to see what he says right at the start. And if it's about the incident. I don't know if he did actually. I know he made a long post on his on an X account, but I was trying to see if he actually made remarks in person about it. He might not have talked about it. It looks like he didn't say anything right at the beginning of his remarks. He was speaking at the Faith and Freedom dinner in Atlanta. Actually, I don't think he did talk about it. So there. There was something else I wanted to show you here too. There was some information about the gunman that the Washington Post reported that I wanted to mention here. Hudzilla says, how did they not have thermal imaging on the drone? So Hudzilla is wondering why, if they had a drone up above the course, which the Washington Post reported, why would they not have seen the guy in the bushes? Maybe they'll do that now if they didn't before. George Boole thinks because a thermal drone camera is super expensive. So in case you missed it, just to sum up what's happening here. Hang on. The suspect in the Trump apparent assassination attempt has been charged with 2 gun crimes. Hold on a second here. The 2 gun crimes are, as we discussed earlier when we read the criminal complaint, possession of a firearm by a prohibited person, convicted felon, possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. Now, he could face other charges, but that's the charges he's facing right now. Those 2 firearm charges. And the reason he was charged with possession of a firearm by a prohibited person, convicted felon, is according to this criminal complaint, which we looked at before. He was in 2002. He was convicted of possession of a weapon of mass death and destruction in North Carolina, which, according to the Greensboro News and Record, I think it was a machine gun. So reportedly, this 2002 felony conviction for possession of a weapon of mass death and destruction in North Carolina was for being in possession of a fully automatic machine gun. And then he also had been convicted in 2010 in North Carolina on multiple counts of possession of stolen goods. I don't know the details of that. So he had at least those felony convictions on his record. A machine gun, a fully automatic gun, will be one where you just can hold down the trigger and it just keeps firing. You don't have to keep pulling the trigger. You just hold down the trigger and it keeps firing. Fully automatic. So we read through this. We watched the press conference. As this document mentioned, cell phone data says that his phone was in the area next to the fence at the golf course for around 12 hours before the incident happened. Do you guys want a little summary? The AP posted a summary of what Trump said about this incident during this. He was doing an X space, like an audio broadcast, an audio interview, where he was supposed to be introducing this crypto business that his sons are involved in. And according to, this has been going on, I think maybe some of you have been listening to it, but this has been going on during the stream. And AP did a little summary of what he talked about during that, discussing what he just during it he discussed the incident yesterday. So Let's just see what it says here. It says, again, it said Trump is expected to deliver remarks about cryptocurrency and the launch of World Liberty Financial, a crypto platform controlled by his sons Donald and Eric Jr. So it says during that X space, Trump is participating in his first speaking appearance since the apparent assassination attempt on Sunday. He is taking part in an X space about the launch of World Liberty Financial, a crypto platform controlled by his sons Donald Jr. and Eric. From his Mar-a-Lago home, he commended the Secret Service for doing an excellent job. Farouk, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, the event's host, began by applauding Trump for not canceling his appearance. Then Trump recounts the apparent assassination attempt. He and his friends playing golf heard shots being fired in the air, and I guess probably 4 or 5. He said they got into carts and we moved along pretty good. I would have loved to have sank that last putt, Trump said, of not being able to finish the round of golf. Trump said an agent had seen a gun barrel and started shooting in the bushes and ran toward the target. Trump also noted that a civilian woman in the area drove her vehicle to the back of Routh's vehicle and took pictures of the license plate. You know, I didn't know that. I had heard that there was a witness who saw him run away and got the license plate. Trump, I guess, said tonight that a civilian woman in the area drove her vehicle to the back of Routh's vehicle and took pictures of the license plate. Did she chase the guy? Chaz says I'd wait for a reliable source. Anyway, that's what Trump is saying. That's what Trump is saying. Sarah said I heard it that way too. That's interesting. Did we hear that last night? All I'd heard last night is that there was a witness who saw the guy run away and also got the license plate. I did not hear about this part of it. All right, some of our viewers have said they heard this last night. Nikki says she needs a Secret Service job. I didn't even hear that last night. Thanks to our ex-viewer Shadow Defense, by the way, for watching over on X. Yeah, Rhonda Williams says maybe there was more than one witness. Okay. Also, Trump said tonight during his X space, the apparent attempt on his life was a much better result than when he was shot in July because no others were wounded or killed. He said that was some crazy day, and yesterday you had another one with a different result, actually much better result, he said. The host noted that some of Trump's sons were in the room for the interview. Trump was giving an interview about crypto tonight, but Trump several times pivoted to many of the issues typical of his campaign stump speeches. He talked about his views on the need to reform immigration, blaming what he sees as the country's wrong direction on his Democratic foes, including Harris, and saying there are evil forces at play in the U.S. As he has repeatedly, Trump referred to the replacement of Biden with Harris atop the Democratic presidential ticket as a coup in the truest sense. And Trump, during the interview tonight, also talked about his conversation with Biden today, with whom he spoke earlier today about the apparent assassination attempt. He was very nice that he called up to make sure I was okay, Trump said of his conversation with Biden today, adding that Biden also sought his input on whether we need more people on my detail. Biden told reporters the Secret Service needs more help, adding, thank God the president's okay. All right. Oh, here's something. I hadn't seen this before. From Associated Press. Hawaii nonprofit details history with Routh. Homemade Hawaii, a nonprofit organization that helps homeless people find housing, said Ryan Routh offered his company's services to help with roofing and flooring for the construction of tiny homes from 2018 to 2020. He was not compensated, and no complaints were recorded during his time with us under Home Aid Hawaii's previous leadership, said the organization's executive director. They have not used Routh's services since 2020. Okay. And where is it here? There's a little more info here on the suspect I want to show you here. Rafi Montez says, where did the suspect get the money to live in Hawaii and travel to Europe? That's what Rafi says. I don't know where his funds came from. It's a good, perfectly reasonable question. I don't know where he got his money from. Oh, by the way, for those who came late, one other thing is that the court document from today confirmed it was not an AR or AK rifle. I think police had described it as an AK rifle originally. It was a loaded SKS style 7.62 x 39 caliber rifle with a scope. Now, I don't know much about guns, so I couldn't tell you. If I Google it, maybe I can find something about that. Wikipedia says of the SKS rifle, Wikipedia says the SKS is a semi-automatic rifle designed by Soviet small arms designer Sergei Gavrilovich Simonov in 1945. It was first produced in the Soviet Union, but later widely exported and manufactured by various nations. Its distinguishing characteristics include a permanently attached folding bayonet and a hinge-fixed magazine. Beginning in 1988, millions have been sold in the civilian market in North America, where they remain popular as hunting and sporting rifles. The gun he had, which had the serial number wasn't visible on it. It had been obliterated. What was it? The serial number had been obliterated. The serial number was obliterated and unreadable to the naked eye, according to the authorities. I don't know how old the one was that he had or where he got it. Nathan Jones says when the USSR failed, they were super cheap. You can read about these on Wikipedia, by the way. Xylee says photos looked like heavily modified SKS. Danny G says same mechanism as AK but different gun. Gringo says they said AK because it had a wooden stock. I'm not a gun expert, so. Oh, in the cartridge, this is 7.62 by 39 here. The 7.62 by 39 millimeter round is a rimless, bottlenecked, immediate cartridge of Soviet origin. It is widely used due to the global proliferation of the AK-47 rifle and related Kalashnikov rifles, as well as the SKS, RPD, and RPK light machine guns. So you can read about this over on Wikipedia. That's what a steel-cased 7.62 by 39 millimeter FMJ cartridge looks like. Yet I am not an expert on these things. This is a little, this is a little more background. I want to read this. Just read some of this. It's a little more background on the suspect. Here, this is from the Washington Post. Suspected gunman at Trump golf course has quixotic past. Quixotic means like impractical, like an idealistic, like you have these big goals, but they're really not realistic goals. So you're trying to do big things, but odds are you're actually not going to be able to be successful. So the article says that the suspect spent his recent years in search of a mission, trying to muster a ragtag army to defend Ukraine and writing a book about his failed efforts. Okay? He lived most recently in Ka'awa on the island of Oahu in Hawaii at a property also linked to a person named Kathleen Schaefer. No one answered when a Washington Post reporter called a number associated with the address on Sunday. A blog on the fundraising site GoFundMe, posted in 2022 by a Kathleen Schaefer, said she was raising funds to support her fiancé Ryan, who put his life at home on hold and traveled to Kyiv in April of 2022 to support the people of Ukraine. He plans on staying for at least 90 days and stays at a hostel with a military unit. Photos on the page show a slim blonde man resembling other pictures of Routh that have circulated online and in news accounts. That blog said that Routh was coordinating international volunteers and had helped send 120 drones to the front lines. Wow. The page had collected pledges totaling $1,865 out of a goal of $2,500, which Schaefer said in the posting would go towards paying for flags, tactical gear, hostel lodging, and other supplies for volunteers. So it looks like maybe his fiancée was helping collect money for him to go and stay in Ukraine, maybe. Public records also show he was originally from North Carolina, and he faced criminal charges for 2 separate incidents in 2002 for possession of a weapon of mass destruction. He pleaded guilty for the first charge in April 2002. In December of 2002, according to the Greensboro News and Record, Routh, armed with a machine gun, barricaded himself in a United Roofing building in Greensboro for 3 hours. Authorities say the incident began after he was pulled over for a traffic stop. Police ultimately arrested him without incident. In that second case, he pleaded guilty to driving without a license and registration, resisting a public officer, and carrying a concealed firearm, while the weapon of mass destruction charge was dropped in that case. This is interesting. That was a sharp departure from a younger Routh profiled in the same Greensboro newspaper in 1991 for his assistance in helping defend a woman against an alleged rapist. Routh, then 25, was wearing a coat and tie in the large photo accompanying the story. He was dubbed a super citizen and awarded a law enforcement Oscar by the Greensboro chapter of the International Union of Police Associations. The headline on the story was "Crime Fighting Pays." Last year, Routh was interviewed by the New York Times for a story about Americans often faltering efforts to provide military aid and support to Ukraine. Routh told the New York Times after spending several months in Ukraine in 2022, he planned to move Afghan soldiers who had fled from the Taliban to Ukraine to fight. He said, "We can probably purchase some passports through Pakistan since it's such a corrupt country." Routh also apparently wrote a 291-page book last year about his disillusionment surrounding Ukraine, according to an Amazon listing that was selling the tome for $2.99. The book, which purports to be about Ukraine's unwinnable war and the fatal flaw of democracy, includes pages of graphic photos including beheadings, dead children, and bloodied corpses. In a section of the book focused on Iran, the author said he must take part of the blame for electing a brainless president in an apparent reference to Trump. And he wrote in this on this book that I guess he self-published last year, "You are free to assassinate Trump." I think he's talking to Iran here. "You are free to assassinate Trump as well as me for that error in judgment and the dismantling of the deal," the book declares. Anyways, that is a little background from this article in the Washington Post about him. And I don't know if that book is still on. Is that book still listed on Amazon? If it is, I'll just post a link to it and you can go look at it if you want. I don't know if it's still up there on Amazon. Yes, it is actually on Amazon. Okay? So the book that they were just talking about in that article in the Washington Post is right here on Amazon. Ukraine's Unwinnable War, The Fatal Flaw of Democracy, World Abandonment in the Global Citizen, Taiwan, Afghanistan, North Korea, and the End of Humanity by Ryan Routh, author, Kathleen Schaefer, editor. And that name, Kathleen Schaefer, you saw in that Washington Post article, appeared to be possibly his fiancée, possibly, according to the Washington Post article. So I will post a link to that page on Amazon for you. If you want to see it, you can go click on that and see. I'm not going to start reading the book on the air, but again, it's up there. Oh, it's currently number 914 bestseller in the Kindle store, number 1 in schools and teaching. I don't know if that's because there aren't many books in schools and teaching, or in the Kindle store, or maybe it's just selling really well. Oh, our viewer Aleppo says it's only available as Kindle in Canada. No, I did not post an affiliate link. We did a discussion of these headphones I was wearing 2 days ago at the end of the stream, and I specifically said, okay, I'll post a link to them. It's an Amazon affiliate link. I did not just post, I have to tell you if it's an affiliate link. The Amazon link I just posted was not an affiliate link. It's called an Amazon Associates link, but I just gave you the regular Amazon link. Jay Knows Which says he was a very conflicted soul. Barb says eccentric. Webb says the sample of it that's posted that has quite a lot of content is pretty crazy. Tanya says you can self-publish and get it approved. Yeah, I mean, I know like on Amazon, unless it's changed, you can self-publish books. Now, I don't know, I'm sure there's some sort of vetting process. Does someone at Amazon, if you publish a 290-page book and most of it is just like, non-violent or whatever, and you have like a sentence or two calling for violence in it, maybe they wouldn't catch that. I don't know if somebody literally reads your whole book. I'm actually a little surprised it's still posted there, given all the publicity. I could imagine it being taken down at some point. I haven't seen it myself, but the Washington Post says there's a passage in it where I think he's talking about Iran and saying that it's okay for them to like assassinate Trump if they want to or something. That's according to the Washington Post quote that I just read you. My point is that I could see it being taken down, but it's still up there at the moment. Yeah, it said in the Washington Post that the quote from the book was, where is it here? Yeah, again, I think he was talking about Iran, but I'm not sure. It says, you are free to assassinate Trump as well as me for that error in judgment in the dismantling of the deal. So, Marissa thinks Amazon should take it down. Yeah, they talked about the book in this Reuters article too. Suspected Trump assassination plotter has criminal history ties to Ukraine war. Routh mocked Biden on social media and suggested in a 2023 self-published book that he voted for Trump in 2016, but then he wrote that backing Trump was a terrible mistake and at various points described Trump as a fool, buffoon, and idiot. Addressing Iran, Routh wrote in his book, You are free to assassinate Trump for Trump's decision to withdraw the U.S. from the Iran nuclear deal. In his Amazon book that he self-published, apparently. Routh argued that democracy needed defending around the world, and the United States had its own catastrophe on January 6, 2021, perpetrated by Trump and his undemocratic posse. Court records showed that Routh has a long history of breaking traffic laws, not paying his taxes on time, and writing bad checks. We also talked about his felony cases as well. Oh, this is something about the stolen goods. In 2010, he pleaded guilty to felonies after he was charged with possession of stolen goods: a blowtorch, a pull cart, and a power cord, according to the district attorney's office. As the owner of several roofing companies, he has been repeatedly sued by people accusing him of not paying his bills. A former neighbor of Routh, according to Reuters, a former neighbor of Routh in Greensboro, North Carolina, Kim Mungo, said he was known to occasionally shoot weapons outside his home on holidays, though not in a threatening manner. She occasionally cooked in his home and said he was cool to me. Mungo said she lived next to Routh for about a decade. Said he had moved away several years ago, but he reappeared in May and was cleaning out the house, apparently intending to sell it. I hadn't seen him in a while, she said. I don't know what his mindset was. Was he ever in the military, says Cogito. I have not heard that he was ever in the military. I don't believe he has any military experience. I think maybe in one of his videos he said he wasn't ever in the military, but I'm not positive. What is this here? Hang on a moment here. TMZ says Diddy has been arrested. Diddy taken into federal custody in New York, according to TMZ. I'm just seeing this now. We might have to cover this. Hey guys, Sean, TMZ is reporting that music star Diddy has been taken into custody. Sean Diddy Combs. All right. I may have to cover that. It's being reported now. I know some of you might not know who he is, but he's a pretty big star. There's been a criminal investigation going on in relation to him. All right. Hey, let me wrap this up. I might have to cover that, but I got to go check out the news on this. So if it's true, we'll probably cover it, okay? So, guys, I'm sorry to get off the air quickly. I'm not going to... Really quick thank yous to you for watching, to all of our moderators. I'll say the moderators real quick because you're awesome. Thanks for mentioning that story in the chat, by the way. Linda Belk and Larry on X. Sarah55 over there on Ruth Krafasi on YouTube. Our Twitch moderators, A Moment of Lovely, Big Ball of Yarn, Idaho Star, I Got That Fire, Sarah Poppy Bear, Tariag and Surly Dev, Raven Lynn, Kay Lowry Body, and I know I'm missing other moderators. But thank you to other moderators. Let me, guys, I'm getting off the air real quick. Subscribe, follow the channel. But if this is true about Diddy being taken into custody, I'll probably be on in a little bit covering it, okay? So, and thank you to Bass300 and for your support. And did I thank everybody who donated? I hope so. Rivertown Creations, yes. Okay, thank you for watching. So thanks to all of our Facebook subscribers, our YouTube members, and our Twitch subscribers. Let me run and look into this, and we might be on the air very, very soon with another stream, okay? So thank you for joining. We'll see you soon with more live coverage, perhaps in a few minutes here at Agenda Free TV.